This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to What the Health, an independent approach to your health span. Have you noticed how our healthcare system may not have your best interest in mind? Join Dr. Eckel in this fun and sometimes disturbing exploration of the state of healthcare and what it means for you. Now, here's your host, Dr. Eckel.
And we're live. Welcome back, everybody. This is What the Health, and I am Dr. Drgregeckel, and we have my special guest on the show today, Phil Wilson, and our title today is Far Infrared Saunas for Longevity, Revitalization, and Relaxation. Now, I want to give Phil a proper introduction here for our viewers and listeners of What the Health. So Phil got involved in fasting and herbs and whole foods in 1971. It sounds like he was a hippie. He opened up a natural products distribution company and health food store in 1980. In 2001, Phil started promoting far infrared saunas. And after 19 years of putting over 100,000 people in the relaxed far infrared sauna, using infrared sauna for almost every morning for 19 years. He's going to share all of his wisdom of what he's gained. He's amassed a great deal of knowledge, wisdom, and experience about the miraculous healing light benefits that the far infrared sauna energy produces in terms of detoxifying the body, mobilizing the lymph, increasing microcirculation, giving a deep, profound sense of relaxation, in energizing and revitalizing our human bodies to have greater performance, endurance, recovery, and mental clarity. So welcome aboard, Phil.
Hi, good to hear from you. That was a beautiful introduction. You explained so well the benefits of far infrared saunas.
We have crossed paths at so many medical conferences. I will share that Phil is out with these saunas at all of the best medical conferences because he's such a firm believer in the technology. He's got it over there over his right shoulder. We can see it right there in the background. And it is one that I personally use as well. And, we're going to talk about benefits of saunas in general. And also just kind of what you've heard, because you're talking to practitioners and people all over the world at this point with what kind of results people are getting with their sauna use, right?
We've gone to about 400 medical conferences over the last 19 years. And every day, even the last two shows we've done in Dallas and in Las Vegas, we've met some pretty influential people who are so much into holistic health, and they get in the sauna and boom, they buy it like in a heartbeat because they experience it. And that's the difference. That's the incredible difference in the relaxed sauna is the experience. And like what you say, and Dr. Klasky, a doctor in Connecticut, also says what he likes best about the relaxed sauna is the instant on. Instantly, it's on. If you've got chills, you come in or you've got, Raynaud's or anything that's, you go in, have an asthma attack, you go into the sauna, you can feel the benefits in 30 seconds and gone. I've had one asthma attack in the last 10 years or so. I got in the sauna and it was gone in like 2 to 3 minutes. I used to have asthma real bad as a kid.
Interesting. So I hadn't even thought about using it in an acute asthma attack. So is that working on the microcirculation front there?
Well, again, it relaxes you. And that's the problem with asthma. It's like an anxiety kind of thing. And I had asthma very, very badly as a kid. A couple times, not realistically, but I thought I was going to die. I couldn't breathe. And it's again, it's like this one lady, we met her at the mental health conference by Great Plains. She came down in her bathing suit and did a 30-minute sweat in the relaxed sauna. And she and her husband have owned like an expensive, really high quality $6,000 wooden infrared sauna in their home for years. And she came back an hour later and said, Phil, after 8 to 10 minutes, and that's what I say is the magic number when you start sweating, in 8 to 10 minutes, being in the relaxed sauna, I experienced the greatest, most profound sense of relaxation I've ever had, not just in the sauna, but in my life.
Wow.
And she was in her mid-30s, I believe.
Wow. So let's back it up on the meta-analysis here, or on the meta picture. So we do know a lot of our viewers, listeners are into brain health and longevity. And I have been educating about the benefits. You know, we get these big studies, cohorts of folks coming out of the Netherlands showing all-cause mortality goes down when it's incorporated into the lifestyle. You know, we get a 46% reduction of all causes of death with regular use of infrared or of saunas. So I want to talk a little bit about the differences between what makes infrared special versus just general sauna, like why the enhancement or why that change. I know I have a lot of listeners and viewers that have concerns around EMF, and I know that this comes up quite a bit at the medical conferences that you go to as well. Yes. So I know you can field that one. So let's start on the big picture benefits of the sauna. So, you know, we talked about on relaxation, putting you into parasympathetic activity, decreasing inflammation and pain, the microcirculation, lymphatic benefits. How do you explain this to somebody that doesn't really know what they're walking into when they come up to see Phil at the booth?
Well, it's like Rebecca Harder said it very, very well in her book, Gastrogirl, which is a book that it's about 200 pages. She gives it out to her clients. And it's Gastrogirl, saving the world one colon at a time. She's a colon hydrotherapist, and she also has a hyperbaric oxygen therapy studio in another city. She said, for 10 years, I have owned these beautiful infrared saunas in my clinic, which I visited a couple of years ago. It's pristine, just gorgeous, you know, aesthetically. And then she says, for 10 years, I turned my nose up at the relaxed sauna at the health conferences. And then she got in one year. And it's like, oh my gosh, in 3 minutes, she could feel the difference. And that's what we're saying. It's like, this is the relaxed sauna. This is a $2,000 portable sauna with a high level of technology that is it can't even be compared to any of the other technologies in any of the portable or wooden saunas. It is not a $900 portable sauna or a $500 one or a $200 one. It is the relaxed sauna, and the technology in the relaxed sauna took 10 years. It took them 10 years to figure out how to filter out the near infrared and the mid infrared and the far infrared on the other side that didn't resonate with your water molecules.
Okay, so yeah, talk about that aspect of it, because, you know, we're seeing, you know, more and more information around electromagnetic frequencies, the EMFs, and we want to make sure, you know, these are very safe for our patients and for the consumer. But there are some health benefits of the far infrared. So how do you talk about those aspects that you brought up? It filters the near and the mid infrared, but allows the far infrared, because that is the piece that penetrates the body deeper, vibrating our cells at a higher frequency that then causes the sweating in the 8 to 10 minutes, but also helps with the microcirculation and oxygen transport, etc. So how do you talk about that?
Well, Hippocrates said it all. He said, find me a way to create sweat or fever, and I will cure disease. In every culture of the earth, they have found some way to increase your body temperature, whether it be the Finnish saunas, the Grecian baths, the Roman baths. And I think in Iran, they would put you in the sand. In the American Indians, the South American Indians, they have sweat lodges, and the Finns have their saunas. And all the cultures of the world use some form of hyperthermia, of increasing the body temperature, which is simply called the fever. And the relaxed sauna, basically, you know, you're familiar with curcumin and turmeric. Mm-hmm. Curcumin is the active ingredient in the turmeric that gets your body to heal so quickly. Well, the far infrared range between 4 and 14 microns, that's the active ingredient that gets your water cells to resonate, and hence all the organic cells of the body to resonate. And what happens when you're so excited about meeting the love of your life? You resonate, okay? And if you've got 100 people in a small room dancing, it's going to get hot.
Yeah.
So your body temperature is going to get hot. And we have, like in the relaxed sauna, about 98% of that active ingredient within the infrared range band. That 98% of the 1500 watts we send out resonates with your water cells. So you have a much greater concentration and the exactitude of it. You've got 1500 watts and you've got 98% of these 1500 watts actually resonating with your water cells, water molecules. Mm. They make in China generic infrared panels made out of carbon. And I believe that every portable sauna company uses those panels, the generic panels. And they're 100 watt, 200 watt, 300 watt. Usually the whole sauna is about 900 to 1,000 watts of those panels. Now, of those panels, only about 36% of that range actually resonates with your water molecules. And that's because they don't have the technology to do 98%. It took the relaxed sauna 10 years when a Japanese company said, can you create a hot spring in your home effect through electricity? Like the hot springs where people would go for healing? And I don't know what they said, but 10 years later, they finally figured out how to do it.
Interesting.
And so the technology in the relaxed sauna, now even the wooden saunas, which some of them have their own technology, that they combine ceramic and they combine the carbon, and most of them are at least 50% of the energy is far infrared ray. But again, it's the distance you are from the sun or the moon, the reflected light or the light from the radiant. And the relaxed sauna tent is what an invention. It's silver. It's even though far infrared light is invisible, and they don't tell you this in 8th grade, it's still reflected by a mirror. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Does far infrared energy go through clothes? Yeah, and we all knew it because we go out into the sun in our winter coat on a cold day, in a sweater or whatever, a jacket on a summer day, and we can feel, when we're in the presence of the sun, we can feel that deep, deep warmth in our body to our core, and that's the far infrared penetrating. Far infrared energy is responsible for photosynthesis in plants. And that's what it gets the water to move and to bend. It gives it the power to move and to bend. And the guy who wrote The Fourth Phase of Water, Gerald Pollack, indicates that they had an incredible experience when light was shined on their special fourth phase of water, and that the far infrared was the most effective. But far infrared energy, to finish my train of thought, it goes through the sand and it resonates with the water in the turtle eggs.
Oh, interesting.
How do you think that turtle eggs hatch? They have to get warm, don't they? What do you think warms it? Certainly not the turtle laying on it like the chicken does. And it basically resonates with the water cells. That increases the core temperature of the egg, and the embryo eventually becomes a turtle. Far infrared ray is the loving light of the sun.
Yeah.
And so many people at these conferences, I mean, if you could be a fly on the wall and hear all these comments, you would buy a relaxed sauna in an instant. Okay.
So,
yeah.
So on that kind of keeping on that train of thought on the far infrared as being, basically life-giving energy from the sun.
Yes.
Now it is an electrical source. So how do you allay or discuss people's concerns with EMF? Because it is a variety of EMF. I mean, it's a natural variety that we get from the sun. So there's a health promoting aspect of certain frequencies of electromagnetic radiation. But now here, this is plugged into our power source and in our living room or wherever we have it. I have it in room number 10 down the hallway here.
I'm getting to really enjoy hearing questions about EMF.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, I won't call it quite fake news, but see, it's the EMF that comes from the cell phone.
Right.
That's the problem. That's microwave energy. Okay. Now, I tell people occasionally at conferences, if you know anyone who's been damaged by microwave energy, Wi-Fi, 5G, cell phones, that far infrared antidotes the negative effects of EMF poisoning. Okay, number one, that's been studied in Japan. It's in a book that has not been translated into English. So that's all I can tell you. However, from my own experiences and from the experiences of many, including we have 4 people who make a living in Phoenix, in Anaheim, in San Diego, and in LA, who go into houses to make them EMF safe. Sometimes they'll put an EMF block on it, on the sauna, but they all have saunas, relaxed saunas in their home. Okay. And one of them hadn't, but had 5 customers in 1 week that all had relaxed saunas. And she's thinking about this. And a week later, she runs into us at a show, gets in the sauna, buys a sauna, and gives me a 5-minute testimony about how the relaxed sauna is so amazing for her.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So how is it out of that book? Maybe you'll have that link on your website eventually. I know it's in Japanese, but what's the mechanism of action on the anecdoting of the 5G and Wi-Fi, et cetera? Because that is of concern in the cities, more and more evidence coming out on the negative effects of that. And yet, like you've got your phone, I have mine. We're not Luddites. But I do think that we do need to minimize our doses to these frequencies because we're just swimming in them unbeknownst to us.
Well, when I used to hold my phone like this, I mean, right there, I got a pain. But maybe that was psychological, but I would get a literal pain in my ear by holding the phone up. And of course, early reports called about, brain tumors from the use of cell phones. I have a cousin actually who died of a brain tumor, and he would use his cell phone all the time. That doesn't mean that cell phones cause brain tumors.
No, but I have a brain degeneration summit coming out in June of this year, and I interviewed Lloyd Burrell and Nicholas Pineau, and they've got the data and the research so much so I used to be kind of like put my head in the sand, like I can't look at that. But there's a mounting evidence. We got Joe Mercola's book, EMF'd. There is just mounting evidence that this is like the new tobacco. In fact, the companies are using the same PR firms that Big Tobacco did back in the day in creating confusion and kind of the uncertainty of like, is this a thing or not? I'm here to say it is a thing. Like it's not made up. Like there's enough evidence now to say we do need to watch our exposures here. So to say that we have a potential antidote and or helpful treatment to make our proverbial cup bigger, let's say that we can withstand more of that, is really compelling. I mean, so much so, I'm in on the research all the time, and I do use saunas. You asked me some questions in the prep, and I'm like, gosh, I'm going to embarrassingly say I don't use it enough, because there are other things that take some attentional units from me, but it's a good reminder to say, you know what, I've got access to this thing right in my clinic, that hyperbarics, IV, I am doing all of the things, but it is keeping the basics in on a day-to-day basis. And that's in particular what I like about the model of yours. And, this isn't just a sales show for relaxed saunas, even though that is what we're going to talk about mainly. And I use one. But what I've appreciated about the one that you're involved in production there is you just push a button and it's on, versus I had the real nice pieces of furniture and the, exquisite addition to the room. But over time, they slow down. It takes like 45 minutes to heat up. It never reached the high temperature that I was looking for over time, right? So worked beautifully at the beginning and then slowly eroded throughout time. Whereas the Relax is like the workhorse. You just get in there, press go, and you're on. Yeah.
We were at a nutritional doctors conference in Minneapolis about 5 years ago, and 4 different doctors all had wooden infrared saunas in their home and hardly ever used it.
Yeah.
If you're a doctor, you want compliance with your patients. And so that's what the Relax sauna is so wonderful about it, is it's so easy to be compliant. But each of those 4 doctors bought Relax saunas from us when they saw how quickly it worked and how good it felt. And I was starting to say earlier that young women especially would come into the sauna and say, oh my gosh, I feel like my grandma's hugging me.
Really? Yeah.
And it's like more than once. And so now that I've started telling people that, they don't tell me that anymore, but we used to get a whole slew of comments like that. And it's one of my favorite comments about getting people to try the Relax sauna, to get rid of their inhibitions or their prejudging, their prejudices about wooden saunas to look so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like a cell phone can do a whole lot more than a 1981 computer could do. The big ones.
Yeah.
And so the Relax sauna, it's the technology and the reflective tent.
Got it.
The Relax sauna, if we didn't have the reflective tent, this would be a $10,000 sauna, because we'd have to have panels all over the place. But we have no EMF in the Relax sauna above the knees because we have no electricity above the knees, number one.
Got it.
And if you would study and look at the 27 most commonly used household appliances, the Relax sauna is 3rd and 7th lowest in EMF, depending whether you measure from 1 inch apart or a foot apart.
Yeah.
So the EMF generated by the Relax sauna, and only by the feet, and that don't go above the knee, that's the only EMF to be concerned about ever in the Relax sauna. If you're concerned about the timer, you put it on the floor. It's not necessary to be, available to you to switch it on again for another 10 minutes. But that's the key of why the Relax sauna works so well.
Got it.
Yeah.
What do you tell folks that have an issue like where they're in there but they don't sweat? What do you say is going on with that?
Well, Dr. Bilica, who used to be a medical director for NASA for 10 years way back before he opened up his clinic, says that when his people who get the Relax sauna finally start sweating, there's a wonderful change in their healing journey. And however, we have never been able to get someone, we've never been able to not get someone to sweat in the Relax sauna at a conference. One lady, it took 51 minutes for her to sweat. She had never sweated in her life. Wow. And there were 3 doctors there with credit cards ready to buy the sauna when that happened.
Yeah.
And I wasn't at that show, but that's the report that I got. Now, I was at another show where I had a dental assistant for a biological dentist, 2 of them. One had not sweated in 10 years, one 20 years, and they both sweated within 20 minutes. So,
interesting.
So the relaxed sauna, again, if you increase the core temperature or the body temperature enough, and there's a study, it was published on reddit.com. It was an individual who was very, very thorough in his studying. He bought a $200 Amazon sauna and found out it would only increase core temperature a half a degree in 25 minutes. He bought a $500 Amazon sauna. Certainly, with all these, all those raves about it, it will do better, and it didn't. And then he looked at the remaining sauna. There's a $900 sauna. There was a relaxed sauna. He bought the relaxed sauna, had more wattage, and a couple other reasons that he said he would explain later, but didn't. The relaxed sauna increased core temperature 3.2 degrees in 25 minutes. And the heart rate variability tests that he performed on all three saunas, the relaxed sauna exceeded what the research said it would do. Because the one they used in research wasn't as powerful as the relaxed sauna. But the other saunas they failed the test completely. And so all saunas, they're all wonderful. I had a cheaper sauna for a year before I heard about the relaxed sauna, and I loved it. I would go in, I'd take the chair out. It would take me 18 minutes to start sweating. In 55 minutes, I felt, man, I had a good sweat. In the relaxed sauna, those figures are 8 minutes I start sweating on the average, and in 18, 20, 22 minutes, I've had an incredible sweat. The relaxed sauna technology is more advanced. It's got more wattage. It's a professional sauna. It's a $2,000 sauna selling for $1,400. It's not a $900, a $500, or a $200 sauna. The technology is advanced, and the wooden saunas, as Rebecca Harder mentioned, and so many others, they are good. They have saved lives. They all have great testimonies. The relaxed sauna is a personal health tool. If you increase your outside body temperature a little bit, the temperature does not matter. That's another myth. People say, oh, you should be at 105. Oh, it should be at 130. Oh, it should be at 170. None of that matters. It's not the heat. Cats lie in the sun. They don't lie outside. They lie in the sun because they want the rays of light. It's the light. So those those radiators in the relaxed sauna are not heaters. They're lighters. But it doesn't fit in your pocket.
Yes, right.
But the far infrared light, if you could see like a snake can see, they can see the far infrared light. That's how they catch their prey at night. The light, the invisible light that we can't see, is 5 times brighter, at least, maybe 9 times brighter than the light in any other sauna. Now, if we could see that, I want that one. I want that one with a bright light. It's like a dose, okay? You can buy a vitamin C with 100 milligrams, 250 milligrams, or a gram. I want the gram. See, people don't think of saunas. They look at the price, they look at the pretty wood, and it's funny, it's humorous, because they're looking in the wrong places. What you want is you want to look at the technology.
Sure. Is there a way, what is the measurement on the far infrared then? Is there some gauge that you have to measure that, or?
Well, the way to measure it, it's like, I think the machines cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And so it's not easy to measure what I'm saying is true. Okay. But you can measure is the effect. You can measure the body temperature. So when I go in the relaxed sauna, no matter what my temperature is, I'm 1.5 to 3 degrees warmer in 10 to 25 minutes.
Got it.
And I measure, and I spent a whole 2 weeks measuring my temperature before and after.
How long does that last? Did you measure for how long you see your body?
Not long, maybe 10, 20 minutes. It
Sure.
fades back. So you're not sick, therefore,
And then what's a dose of meter dose for getting in the sauna on a daily basis?
Well, if you've got arthritis pain, sometimes 5 to 10 minutes will get rid of it. If you have a sports injury, 5 or 10 minutes with your clothes on. all these, because I've stuck 150,000 people in saunas, and if someone with arthritis pain, fibromyalgia pain, any kind of pain, inflammation, they go in the relaxed sauna, or, if they got a cold or whatever, it's like, if they don't feel better in 7 minutes, 10 minutes, I said, is it working? Because it's like 98% of the time I get positive results. Occasionally people, they can't deal with the hot, and if you get too hot in the relaxed sauna, because it is the hottest sauna out there, you just unzip the zipper, because the heat doesn't matter. I'm talking to people, it's not the heat, it's the light. And then for 8 years ago, I'm so hot, I can't stand it. I have to move my head, my shoulder, do all this to be able to handle it, because I'm at 22 minutes. I'm sweating like the dickens, but the timer says 30 minutes. And you know how we humans are. I want to go to 30 minutes. I want to, and finally it dawned on me, damn, unzip the zipper, silly. It's like Luke in Luke Skywalker. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, turn off the computer. and then it goes in for a hit, So here I am. Take the zipper, turn it down. I mean, that's your sophisticated temperature control. It's called a zipper.
Wow. That's high tech right there.
Yeah, really high tech.
That is super high tech. Well, and one of the pluses, I think that for me, honestly, it's not a pretty device, right? This is a therapeutic workhorse, in that, I was one of those snobs walking at the medical conferences going,
right.
Boy, I've got a really pretty, wood sauna at home and in the clinic, and, it's got all of the bells and whistles that it needs to have. But over time, it was like I stopped using it because it wasn't doing what it was meant to do. Like, I'd have to time it. It became a hassle. What I like about this one is you just sit in it and press go, and it gets you there, right? And it's a workhorse. Like, I've had one probably 5 years, and I put hundreds of people through it. So I don't have 150,000 people. But it is, I've been impressed with it increasing circulation. I always talk about Chinese medicine as, the healing properties of the body travel in our blood. And so when you're effectively moving the chi or energy, that moves the blood. That's how the body heals itself. Why I think a lot of these cultures have had heat therapy or, for hyperthermia treatments is that component, right? The fever is the cure. You raise your body temperature, it will kill pathogens in your body. It will help detoxify your liver and your lymph glands, and the skin as being the largest route of elimination. And so this is a really great addition to anybody's longevity kit. And especially if you have any hormone imbalances, you've got pain, arthritis. What other conditions have you seen? Like, people get in there kind of the doubters, and then they're like, wow, that actually, I feel different. Because this is one thing that, you actually notice changes real time in the real world, which is really fun. Yeah.
Well, we've had a lot of success at conferences that are just sort of unbelievable. We have Lyme disease and mold are two of the major problems we're having in this world, with Lyme disease and mold. It's insidious, mold toxicity. And the relaxed sauna has a banner following among hundreds, almost maybe 1,000 different people with Lyme and mold toxicity have gotten a lot of benefit, sometimes at the point where many people say they're normal now from Lyme disease. One lady, her husband was a doctor, a naturopathic doctor, and his wife was going to a Lyme literate doctor and says, okay, you're 70%, 75% better. It's time to do a sauna. And he got the relaxed sauna, and within a very short period of time, a couple months to a year, she was at 95% capacity, effectiveness, and now she uses it 3 times a week instead of every day. But we have people with Lyme disease who had neuropathy for 2.5 years, and 12 minutes in the relaxed sauna, and she had tingling in her feet and toes and fingers for the first time in 2.5 years. And, getting rid of the heavy metals, mercury, lead. We've had hundreds of reports of people who don't have the not just the heavy metals in their blood, but their health is back. I mean, so if you want, to become healthier and, any kind of sports injuries. Now, Dr. Kerry Moses out of the LA area was at a cancer control conference about 6-7 years ago. And after he came back a couple of years later and gave us about a 6-minute testimony, and this is way before COVID, that it nips a flu and a cold in the bud. I mean, it's like, in every culture, there's a grandma who knows to heat you up, and that's what we're doing. And it's so simple and it's so quickly. The other portable saunas take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to warm up, and they're great. And the same with the wooden saunas, usually 20 minutes or longer. They're all great, but the relaxed sauna instant, and the fact that the intensity of the healing, oh my gosh. I mean, it feels like your best day lying in the sun when you had your eyes closed and you felt the incredible warmth you have. And I call this basking in divine love. This is the best we could do to have electricity give us a feeling that feels like you're basking in divine love, or you're in the presence of an unconditional loving being who's loving you unconditionally. You feel totally accepted, totally warm, totally in the moment, because the parasympathetic nervous system is activated by the relaxed sauna far infrared energy so much more strongly than any other sauna. And that's what gets you into the moment. And that's when the magic happens, because your mind that flickers and does whatever it does, flies and fights, that's gone. And you're right there, just experiencing the warm, loving rays of this energy. And now your body can heal. That's why your body heals at night, because you get out of the way.
So I'm wondering on that topic, Phil, are you familiar with any research around healing PTSD or traumatic events for folks with the sauna? You come across that or know anybody doing that research out there?
Well, intuitively, I would say that the relaxed sauna and far infrared saunas in general are one of the best things you could do. One of the absolute best things. I almost see the relaxed sauna, because divine love is a pretty good thing. And
I think so too. And that's what made me think of it. I was like, wow, I like that languaging around it. And I'm just curious, I like to have as much empirical evidence and intuitive evidence is great, and how people feel. And, if we had any research on it, that would be also very fascinating and interesting to me. So I'll put it out to my listeners too. Right. If you all have come across any research, please share it with us. Because that, I really do see, as we go forward, setting up centers for deep traumatic healing. It's very important now. We're seeing, epidemics of chronic illness on the planet. And so the more therapies we can stack in a therapeutic regimen to help actually move the needle for folks. So, hearing some of your languaging around it, I really like that. I'm going to incorporate that in on how I talk about the saunas as well.
The relaxed sauna is very, very effective for those with autism. It's in the autism community, a great many of them are promoters of infrared saunas. And we met Dr. Klinghardt. You're familiar with him.
Yes. Yep.
It's funny because, he said Joe Mercola wrote a book about EMF.
Yeah.
Well, his teacher, I believe, I'm pretty, 99% sure that he learned about EMF from Dr. Klinghardt. And Dr. Klinghardt has been one of the big proponents of the dangers of 5G, Wi-Fi. Well, he bought 2 saunas from us. His partner got in the relaxed sauna at the autism show, took it up to the hotel room, and her elbow pain that she'd had for a year, gone. And they had done multiple things to try to get rid of the pain.
Yeah.
And one session, the relaxed sauna, they did this. They brought it up to the hotel room all 3 nights, bought it. And then 2 months later, I ran into Dr. Klinghardt and I asked him, I said, Dietrich, people carry a cell phone. Okay. and they're concerned about the EMF in the relaxed sauna.
Right.
And he said, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And so, again, the fear of EMF, I say, is at least 100 times more dangerous than EMF. We've been having household appliances in our houses for years. The relaxed sauna is much safer than an iron. The EMF is minimal. Now, you are going to have some people, maybe 1 out of 1,000, who will react. But what I tell people, and the energy coming out of the relaxed sauna actually is an antidote, and actually will undo damage, and will prevent any damage from the relaxed sauna. A little bit of EMF that comes out. The energy itself. We had a musician from Philadelphia go into the relaxed sauna maybe 10 years ago, and he was really sensitive, and he said, I can sense the EMF, I can feel it there, but it's not interfering with my body. As a matter of fact, I feel good. But he was sensitive enough to see it there by the feet. Mm-hmm. So, but it wasn't affecting him. And this is, again, just like Dr. Klinghart's partner said, that she's really sensitive to EMF. I mean, she's, got to even be careful of the fluorescent light bulbs. But the relaxed sauna did not affect her negatively at all. And we have, again, hundreds of people with Lyme disease, mold toxicity, and so many other, and of course, there's 4 or 5 cancer clinics use the relaxed sauna and promote it and recommend their patients buy it. So we have a track record after 19 years. And by the way, I have, I didn't tell you about my background. I have a degree in mathematics and an honors degree at Indiana University, and 4 to 5 years of graduate work in the history and philosophy of mathematics. And again, it's studying the basics of the foundations of math is like studying the foundation of science, of what science believes. And there's a lot of there's a lot of misconceptions, fake news on both sides of the issue. There's a lot of things that people are saying is true. And again, you go back to the basic experience. You go into the relaxed sauna, for example, and you say, wow, this is how I feel. That's real. See, and all science is based on observing data. And when you get in there, and there are many articles on PTSD and far infrared energy. PubMed.com there's probably about 60 articles, on research. We did research on the relaxed sauna in 2004 and found out it penetrated deeply into the cells and increased microcirculation in the cells of humans, mice, and pigs. And this was a 1904 study, and it actually compared it to a near-infrared light bulb and found out the far infrared energy was significantly more effective than the near-infrared.
More effective at what?
Penetrating deeply into the cell and increasing microcirculation. Sorry.
Got it.
That's great. When you say effective for what?
Right. So on that revitalization front, on ATP production and energy production in the cells, maybe you can speak into that a bit, in experiences, what you've seen, what you've heard other physicians reporting back in, along those lines.
Well, the relaxed sauna is very effective for penetrating very, very deeply into the cells, and far infrared energy penetrates 1 3/4 to 2 inches into the cells, and then the cells talk to each other, and so that's why you have every cell in your body. It's like you've seen washing machines, and they have water, and the water goes through and penetrates the clothes. And every fiber of the clothes has water penetrating it, and we call that saturated or wet. So when you go into the relaxed sauna, that invisible light penetrates every cell of your body in the same exact way that water penetrates clothes in a washing machine. And that cleanses and purifies every cell of your body. So therefore, a clean engine works better than a dirty engine. And therefore, you have more energy because all the gunk that's interfering with your body functioning optimally is gone, totally gone. See, and that's the beauty of the mitochondria creating ATP and nitric oxide, because your mind's not getting in the way because the parasympathetic is activated. And so that's the whole mechanics of what's going on to give you that energy. It cleanses and purifies you. And with the purification, your engine or your body is functioning optimally. The lymphatic system is cleansing, getting toxins out. When you increase the microcirculation, because the water cells actually get smaller. Most people don't know that, but that's the mechanics. That when you have the two H's and the O in the vibrating or pulsating, that angle gets smaller, so the water cell gets smaller, and the result is the blood cells get smaller. You get blood cells getting smaller. You got these capillaries where the blood cells are too thick, and therefore you have no feeling in your toes or fingers. And now the microcirculation increases, and so all of a sudden you have feeling, scar tissue disappears. The inflammation and the pain go away. Number one. Inflammation and pain go away. It nips a cold and a flu in the bud. Those are the instants. All the other stuff is more subjective, and you know, the profound effect after being in the sauna is joy and euphoria.
Well, who doesn't want more joy and euphoria, right? You can't get too much of that in your day-to-day these days, especially. So so we've got all kinds of research on saunas, the far infrared sauna component. We understand that is a natural light that's coming in. Our cells have receptors for that light, in particular the mitochondria. They produce more ATP, which is energy. It's why we eat food. It's why we need light. That mitochondria, they have all of our cells work more efficiently, and in essence, giving our vitality more energy to help heal itself. And I think that might be where the joy and euphoria comes from. In that we get that outpouring of, with the circulation open, the heart open, and more love. So I love that universal embrace from the heat, putting us into parasympathetic activity, which is our rest and regeneration and revitalization state. So I love that. I like putting those words together in a sentence is very fun.
I guess most sauna companies don't describe their saunas that way, do they?
Not at all. Not at all. And, it is, I wanted to mention to folks that have made it this far in our interview, right? Phil has so graciously given us a code to use. So if you're interested in these saunas, and I know a lot of folks have been, I write about them in my brain supplement guides, and I'm going to talk about them on the Brain Degeneration Summit, but we do have the opportunity here with the code NCC330, which is an extra $100 off, a really good priced, kind of the workhorse. Like I said, I've got this in my clinic. I personally use them. I have used multiple different saunas through time. And like Phil is saying, like, just get in a sauna, but in particular, obviously he's really fond of the one that he's involved with, but it is a good one. And it's a workhorse, and it works on, you press go and it's on. And that's the piece is the best sauna for you is the one that works and that you're going to use. And so to be able to get in there, I'm excited for the end of the day because I'm getting back in on a regimen of doing the saunas because of this conversation, which I really am so thankful for. Sometimes we get a little bit out of our habit and routines, and then it's remembering like, wait a minute, like all of these benefits, like we know rationally, but we actually you need to use them for them to work. So I super appreciate you for coming on. I'm wondering on the last bit of our show, any last great parting words here?
Well, the most important thing, if they want a sauna, they need a website to go to, and it's relaxsaunas.com, relaxsaunas.com, and they put in the code NCC330. After they order it, there's a little place, a little blue on the left. They can put the code in to get $100 off.
Perfect.
Okay.
I also have that in the show notes, so they'll see the link in the show notes, which is awesome. So great.
I wanted to talk about athletes.
Yes.
See, we've been talking about those who are out of sorts with their health in a disease mode or dis-ease. We want people who are pretty happy in their life. A homeowner, someone who goes to work every day, they come home tired, a plumber, whoever, and they go in the relaxed sauna. It's like a marathon runner. After she ran a marathon, ran into us at a show in Philadelphia. And after going in the relaxed sauna for 7 minutes twice, she said, oh my gosh, I have my day back, because she was exhausted. And any athlete, 5 to 7 minutes before your workout, same as if you're a massage therapist or a chiropractor or any kind of body worker, you put your client in for 5 to 7 minutes before you work on them, even a psychologist, and your results are going to be amazing. But going back to to what I was saying earlier about the athlete goes in for 5 to 7 minutes, and then they do their workout, whether it be a marathon, a baseball game, or a basketball game, or just a workout at the gym, 20 to 25 minutes afterwards, and they are a new woman or a new man. It is, and any athletic trainer, we go to a lot of athletic trainer shows, I tell them, you do everything you can to get your athlete in the best physical shape they're in, and then you add the relaxed sauna to your regimen, and you're going to have a plus factor. That's going to augment what you do, and they're going to be more productive. They're going to have greater endurance. Their performance is going to be enhanced. Talk about a performance enhancement drug that beats it cold, okay? And you're going to be able to recover more quickly. And that's for anyone who going out into this world as an athlete. So that means everyone is an athlete. And so anyone can, if you're an older person, 60, 70, and you have pains and aches that you think are normal, no, they're not normal. You've accepted it as being normal, so you got what you accepted and believed you deserved. That's not necessary. You can do a sauna, any sauna, okay? You want to increase your body temperature, or you can do the relaxed sauna for the most effective, quickest treatment, and it'll transform your life within a week, or definitely within a month. It transforms lives. Actually, it'll transform your house into a home, because where there's a home, where there's a home, that's a hearth. Where there's a hearth, there's a home. And so it'll transform a house into a home. And I like that.
I love it. So thank you for bringing the heart out in the sauna world, Phil. Everybody, Phil Wilson of relaxsaunas.com. And really appreciate you coming on, sharing stories with us, Phil. Everybody, this is What the Health. If you liked today's show, please share us with 2 loved ones. Think of them right now and say, Aunt Sandy would really love this show. Let me send her the show. My sister or my neighbor, get the word out. This is why I created this platform. I wanted to bring you the real information direct into your living rooms. I'm honored that you chose to spend this hour with us. If you like the show, give us a 5-star review. Tell people what you liked about that, what you learned, and because it does make a difference. You read the reviews, they read the reviews. This is how we change the world. So thanks, everybody. We are here on the Contact Talk Radio on Tuesdays from 2 to 3 Pacific time. We will see you next week. Take care,
Thanks.
everybody.